Good evening, everyone. This video is going to be a trading review and a support session for February, oh no, April the 20th, 2022. So we're going to get started here. I kind of pressed it a little bit too soon this morning, so let's just go through the trades. Market was recently in a kind of an uptrend as we were coming into the open. So as you can see, we're already above R1 in this area, and it was open positively. Now what I'm really trying to do is to not take trades in the first 3 minutes, and it was looking pretty good this morning. So it was even bouncing above the value high. So I pressed it a little bit, and as usual in my luck, in the first 3 minutes, this is my first entry, and it was close to the top. So I added to it here, right, as it was trying to hold both the minute close and the EMA, and it looked like it was going to bounce a little bit more, so I added yet another contract. So at this point, I'm holding 3. And it needed to get back up probably into here somewhere to exit, and it didn't quite. So I'm it's early, so I'm kind of holding on to it. So I'm thinking about it here, right? So sometimes this is a false breakout area, and it had a big run up, so I added to it. Didn't get a great fill. I mean, I probably got it in right about there. So now I have 4. Right, so it's back into, right in this cluster of support area, right? So don't really want to reverse yet. And as you can see, if I would have, it would have been, necessarily bad. Now all of this is due to, I traded too early, so I'm still working it. So it's trying to come up again above the EMA and above all the support lines. So I added another one here at the very last minute. Trying to do it, I added another one here. So I did exit 1, right? And then if it had exited all of them, I would have probably been up 4 or 5 points. But it kind of pulled back, and it's kind of stalling here. So I brought some of the other exits down, right? So then I exited 3. Let's say I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so it's out 1, and well, anyway, I know I only had 1, so I say I'm out 3. It may have been out of 4 in that area, and that left me 1, right? And I was getting a little bit greedy. If I'd gotten out of everything, I probably would have been up, like a total of somewhere around 4 points on the first trade, but I got a little bit greedy, so I still had 1 long. All right, so it's coming back down now. Oops, let me switch back to the pointer so I can move the screen. So I'm kind of hanging with it. It's back under here, so it looks like it's going to, now I'm into R1. So I bought right here, right? So now I'm back to 2, and it's trying to hold the 25% upper line, bounces a little bit more. And so now I'm back up to 3, but it didn't hold. And so I could have, perhaps reversed a little bit earlier, but I ended up reversing about somewhere right around here, right? So now I'm reversed. So now I'm probably carrying in the neighborhood of about 3 short. Let's see, I had 1, 2, 3, so I'm carrying 3 short, and I added 2. It's not really behaving well, right? I mean, it's a little bit mad now, right? Look at all these expansions coming down. So I had, when I reversed, I had 3 short, added 2 to it here, right? And then it's coming back down to the to VWAP here, right? Added another one, so that's probably 6, because I think the maximum contracts I had today was 7. So and I added to it in right pretty close to here, right? And I just started getting out, and so I was out, in this time, in this frame, and so I ended up, up a few points at that particular point, so at that, so I'd recovered everything from the first trade and made profit, even though it meant I probably wasn't going to be having a real efficient day, right? Since I had a pretty big reverse and added to it. But anyway, I've got their money, not the other way around. So I'm out here, right? Sorry, I'm out here, right? It continues to pull down. This is a little bit far down, but it's still, underneath the Ultraflex. So I added one. I went short here, not added. Short one here, bounced back up. It's holding at the 1 minute average. I added another one to it, and I'm out there. So I picked up a couple of points there. And then let's see. This is one of my 2 tick trades, but I don't see my arrow. Oh, I mean, I'm short here, right? So this is the beginning of the trade. I'm short here. Didn't really get too close to the 2x200, so I decided to go ahead and take a couple of ticks. And this is one of those trades where I took a couple of ticks, but it went ahead and went all the way down to the 2x200. Sometimes it gets close, but not quite. All right, so here, I said I didn't really want to do a counter trend move, but it is the 2x200. It is one of those areas that that has a tendency to try to hold, right? And it is holding, right? So it got a 3x Renko and an expansion. So making sure it was moving, and I guess I decided, a little bit late to take the trade. But anyway, I took the trade and I got 1 point out of it. I didn't want to challenge it too terribly much. That was a 1 point trade. And let's see, I don't know if I took another trade right before 7 or not. No, I don't see any other trades in here. So 7 o'clock happens, right? So I'm pulling back up. This is a little bit of a speculative entry because, everything is still coming down. EMA is coming down. So I took a trade close to the EMA, right? So this is a little bit of speculation, right? It comes back up to the daily bias, right? Gets rejecting again. I add one to it. So that's 1, 2. Oh, no. Here's the first entry. I was wondering why that was going on, because it normally wouldn't have taken a speculative entry at the EMA, right? I took it as a position average helper. So and it's a little bit late, right? It is an expansion, but it's not coming from the top, right? It's kind of coming down. It is a lower low here, so I mean, it very well could have gone. It just didn't quite. So I added to it here, then it pulled back up a little bit more to the day bias. I added to it one more time, and in this area I was out 2, so I still had 1, and so I settled for a little bit less profit and got out of the other trade, got out of the last unit up in here. So, but still made money on the overall trade. And so where are we doing? We're after 7 o'clock. We're kind of, I don't like crossing patterns too much. I mean, they do get me every now and then, but I don't like trading. I mean, we get enough trades that we can kind of be a little bit patient. I see a one. Oh, and this was not a bad cross. I mean, it is still something of a cross, right? It's crossing the 2x20. So I took a trade here, and I was out over here for 1 point. Didn't want to challenge VWAP too much. This perhaps was an okay trade. So this is probably one. I don't know if I was here or not, but I know I missed a couple of reasonable looking trades. This one is one of them, right? It's coming from the 1 minute close. It's coming off of the EMA, and after coming back down from the VWAP and having touched the 2x20, the top of this band, or you look at all the support that's here, it is moving back up. So it was a pretty good trade. That was probably one I wasn't around. Back down to this area again. I took it this time, right? So I took it this time, similar trade to what it was before, right? So I took that for 1 point, and that was another one I took for 1 point, and it shot up. I could have gotten the whole 6 ticks. took this trade near the top. I don't necessarily love this trade, what I did, because it's up around yesterday's high, and I took it, and then I realized that, and then I only took it for 2 ticks. It was another one of those that did spike up, as you can see, to the midline, so I could have gotten it, but I was okay. It was just taking 2 ticks on it. This one this was a crossing pattern that I probably should have left alone, right? So it's not real strong through here. It's not real strong through R1. So this is a little bit of a crossing pattern. It's not like it's overbought or anything. So it's below the guide band, and it's around a rising ultraflex. But I wasn't really thrilled that I took this trade. Comes down to the minute average and holding. So I went ahead and added to it, and I'm out back up here by R1. And let's see, here's another one I took. It looks like it's going to go higher. It takes a while, right? It takes a while for it to pop. So I settled for lower profits, just took 3 ticks. And that was looks like that was the last trade, so 740. So an hour and 10 minutes, and I ended up a gross of 13 3/4 points. So not a bad morning. So I think I missed at least that one trade, and I think I missed another one. And I took short profits on at least a few trades that I could have held out for. But anyway, an okay day, not a super efficient a day. I did trade another couple of times when I was around the computer, and it looked okay. So I ended up, let's see, I'm looking at my P&L now. 15, 16, I ended up 16 1/4. So a couple more trades, ended up 16 1/4 for the entire day. So which helped pay for those commissions that I had. All right, so that was kind of the day. I'm in the process, just on software update. I have made the changes that people have requested to the time marker. You've already seen that. I've made the request from today to make those the conditions adjustable, right? Somebody wanted to be able to make them smaller if they so desired, so you can do that on all the conditions that print up here, right? So all those conditions, the text can be made smaller. And I've fixed the little booger that I had on the EMA color that was discussed this morning. So that seems to be rock solid. And so let's see, I think, so just some little bitty things that I wanted to do and get into your hands pretty soon. So I do like coloring the EMA. That's what I'm going to do. You don't have to. It's all under your control. And you can kind of set it up the way that you like. Just kind of remember it, so you don't, write it down somewhere if you like it, so when you get a new update. I think the updates will definitely slow down now. I've been making all these changes for speed, and the time analysis is definitely one of them. So you can pick whatever minute close, number of minutes you want to use for the close. I'm liking 1 minute. It's in the direction of faster speed, and that's what I was looking for. So instead of every 2 minute close, it's going to be every 1 minute close. It doesn't affect the 2x20, right? That's on a 2 minute rhythm. Doesn't affect that. So this is like an independent calculation for the 1 minute close. So I'm projecting. I've only got one compile left to do to have a final version ready for kind of verification. So I'll have like 2 days to look at it. So I think it's pretty reasonable that I can get an update out this weekend. All right. So any questions on that? I don't. You can if you want to. I mean, I'm still going to supply it, right? And I'm going to use it in the TML file. But for me, I'm going to have it not active. So if you want to active, I mean, good point. You can just click it, right? And to turn the status on, and you can see it. It's just whatever your eyes are comfortable with. So if I'm doing everything right, right? If I'm doing everything right, the entries that I am taking are going to be in agreement with the flex paint. It's just I don't think I need it, right? Because sometimes it's getting kind of small, right? Especially on the entries, right? And so I'm going to, for right now, what I'm doing is I'm turning it off. But you can turn it on if you wish, right? Because I want to get closer to faster entries, which sometimes I can actually get the jump on what Flex Paint might show. I didn't never really thought it was going to be great for entries. I think it might be better for exits, right? So if you're extending, right, and so or also if you're at the kind of the end of the trade, then and it's not painting, then you might really need to think about if you should take entries there or not. So that's just kind of my thoughts right now. I'm still going to include it. It's going to ship. It's going to be in the TML. For me, I'm not going to turn it on. You guys can certainly choose to turn it on if you think it's helping your decisions.
Trend change.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. You have a good night too, and we will see you hopefully in the training room tomorrow. All right. So have a good evening and take care.